Quick question, can I get your email? Because I want to send you this book along with an invitation to the biggest event of the season for entrepreneurs. So I've been working on this for 2 years.
I want you to take a moment and think about the times in your life when everything seemed to be going wrong, when your bank account was nearly empty, when your job felt like a burden, when your dreams were distant shadows, and when you were drowning in uncertainty, doubt, and hardship. We all have had those moments. And if you're in that phase right now, I want to tell you something powerful and life-changing. This is how God tests you before sending wealth. Wealth is not just money. It's not only the zeros in your account or the gold in your safe. True wealth is a combination of prosperity, peace, purpose, and the ability to bless others. And that kind of wealth is not handed out casually by the divine. It's given after you've proven that youth and the ability to bless under the gold in your safe. True wealth is a combination of prosperity, peace, purpose, and the ability to bless others. And that kind of wealth is not handed out casually by the divine. It's given after you've proven that you can carry it with wisdom, with humility, with strength, and with grace. God doesn't test you because he wants you to suffer. He tests you because he wants to prepare you. Think of it like this. You wouldn't hand a sharp sword to a child, would you? Why? Because it's dangerous unless the one holding it is trained. Wealth is no different. In the wrong hands, it can destroy lives, relationships, and even souls. But in the right hands, it can build empires, feed nations, and uplift generations. The test before the wealth is not a punishment, it's preparation. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked tirelessly every single day. He had a vision. He wanted to build a business, create opportunities, and leave a legacy. But for years, nothing seemed to go right. He failed over and over again. He faced betrayal, financial loss, and deep moments of self-doubt. But through it all, he remained faithful. He gave when he had little. He served when he was tired. He stayed honest when shortcuts seemed easy. And then one day it all changed. Doors opened, opportunities poured in, and wealth came, not just money, but wisdom, influence, and purpose. He didn't become rich because he was lucky. He became rich because he passed the test. You see, the journey to wealth is a spiritual one. God often strips you of what you think you need to show you what you truly need. He removes the noise so you can hear his voice. He breaks your pride so you can lead with humility. He delays your breakthrough so your character can catch up to your destiny. If you're struggling right now, financially, emotionally, spiritually, I want you to lean in, because this is your training ground. This is your proving season. This is your moment, not to give up, but to grow. Ask yourself, can you still believe when nothing around you gives you a reason to? Can you still give when you barely have enough for yourself? Can you still serve with integrity when no one is watching? Can you still hold on to your values when compromise promises quick reward? These are the questions God asks before he releases abundance into your life. We often think the biggest test is poverty, but the truth is the biggest test is what you do during poverty. Do you curse your situation, or do you learn from it? Do you get bitter, or do you get better? Do you become jealous of others' success, or do you use it as inspiration? These reactions are all part of the test. There's a reason so many people lose everything after suddenly coming into money. They pass the door of opportunity, but they fail the test of preparation. That's why God is more concerned with your development than your destination. He's not in a rush to make you rich. He's determined to make you ready. And that readiness looks different for everyone.
Human nature. Two forces intertwined. What flows through the earth flows through every cell in your body.
For some, it's the test of patience. You've been faithful for years and nothing seems to be changing. But patience produces depth. It teaches you to trust the process and builds the foundation to sustain what's coming. For others, it's the test of integrity. You're being tempted with shortcuts, ways to make fast money by compromising your values. But remember, what comes fast often falls faster. God is asking, can I trust you when no one is watching? Then there's the test of generosity. You may think, when I have more, I'll give more. But God says, if you're not faithful with little, you won't be faithful with much. The way you handle your last $10, 0 cents, determines how you'll handle $10,000, 0 cents. Some of you are in the test of endurance. Life has knocked you down again and again, and you wonder if you have anything left. But the truth is, diamonds are only formed under pressure. The more intense the pressure, the more valuable the outcome. And then there's the hardest test of all, the test of silence. When you pray and it feels like nothing is happening. When you cry and no one seems to notice. When you work but the results don't show. That silence is not absence, it's observation. God is watching not just what you do, but who you're becoming. There's a hidden beauty in being broken, because it's in those moments that you learn who you are. You learn to create not out of abundance, but out of necessity. You learn resilience, empathy, and humility. These are the traits that money can't buy, but wealth requires. Wealth without wisdom is a curse. Power without purpose is a weapon. That's why God puts you through seasons that feel unfair, not because He's punishing you, but because He's pruning you. There's a quote that says, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And qualifying often feels like breaking, but brokenness is where the light gets in. Don't despise the days of small beginnings. Don't be ashamed of your struggle. Don't compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Because what God is building in you will not only bless you, it will bless others through you. We live in a world that glorifies instant success. But anything that lasts is built slowly, tested thoroughly, and rooted deeply. You want lasting wealth? Then you need lasting character. Character is built in obscurity, when no one is clapping for you, when you have to motivate yourself, when you cry alone and still get up in the morning. That's where greatness is forged. So if you're asking, why me? Maybe the answer is because you're chosen. Because God sees in you what others don't. Because your pain has a purpose. Because your journey has a mission. And because your wealth will have impact, not just income. Look at history. Every great leader, entrepreneur, artist, or innovator had a moment of testing. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she didn't have the face for television. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Joseph in the Bible was thrown into pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned before becoming a ruler. Why? Because the weight of their calling required the strength of their character. And so does yours. Wealth is not a destination, it's a tool, a powerful tool. But you have to be the kind of person who knows how to use it. That's why the test comes first. So if today you are feeling crushed by life, I want you to remember this. You are not being buried, you are being planted. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not being forgotten, you are being forged. And when the time is right, when you've passed the test, when you've become the kind of person who can carry the blessing, God will open the floodgates, not just a trickle, but overflow, not just for you, but for everyone connected to you. You will become the answer to someone else's prayer. You will become the blessing you once begged for. You will become the example that others will look to and say, if they could make it, so can I. But first, you must pass the test. So stay faithful, stay disciplined, stay generous, stay humble, stay hopeful, because wealth is coming. But more importantly, the person you're becoming on the way there, that's the real...
15 yards ago.
Yeah. Before any significant breakthrough, before any lasting wealth is poured into your hands, there is a test. A quiet, often invisible, deeply personal test. Not from people, not from society, but from God. Because in divine design, tests always precede trust. We live in a world obsessed with speed, fast money, fast fame, fast success. But the truth is, what comes quickly can also vanish just as fast. That's why before God gives you something valuable, whether it's influence, finances, responsibility, or opportunity, He ensures you're someone who can be trusted with it. Because to be trusted with wealth is not about what you want to do with it. It's about what you're ready to do with it. Think about it. You wouldn't hand over your life savings to a stranger. You wouldn't give your car keys to someone who doesn't know how to drive. So why would God entrust you with abundance, with blessings, with influence, if you haven't yet proven you're ready? That's where the test comes in. And here's what most people miss. God's tests often don't look like tests. They don't come labeled with warning signs or red flags. They come disguised as disappointments, delays, difficult people, closed doors, empty bank accounts, and lonely seasons. They show up when you least expect them and feel least prepared, and they're not designed to break you. They're designed to build you. The tests may ask questions like, can you remain honest when no one is watching? Can you give when you're in need yourself? Can you show up with integrity day after day, even when nothing seems to be working in your favor? Can you praise when you're in pain? Can you keep your heart clean when you're surrounded by bitterness and temptation? These moments, though quiet and personal, are deeply significant. They reveal something essential, not to God, because He already knows who you are, but to you. These tests expose your character, your mindset, your values, and your endurance. They highlight what's solid in you and what still needs work. Many people fail the test simply because they don't recognize they're in one. They believe their hardship is punishment. They think the delay is denial. But the truth is, it's refinement, it's shaping, it's transformation. It's God saying, I want to trust you with more, but first let's make sure you can carry it. You see, wealth, true wealth, is not just a blessing. It's a burden. It comes with pressure, with responsibility, with visibility, and with influence. And if you don't have the internal maturity to match the external success, that wealth can crush you. That's why God doesn't rush the process. That's why He allows the testing phase to be long, uncomfortable, and often uncelebrated. But here's the good news. Every moment you remain faithful, every time you resist temptation, every time you choose character over convenience, you're moving closer to breakthrough. You're showing God and yourself that you're trustworthy. And trust is the currency of divine promotion. Think of the story of Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream of greatness, of power, of influence. But before that dream came true, he was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, wrongly imprisoned and forgotten. For over a decade, his life was nothing like the dream he saw. But what was happening during that time? He was being tested, and he passed. He served faithfully in prison. He stayed honorable in the face of seduction. He interpreted others' dreams while waiting for his own to come to pass. And when the moment came, when the palace doors opened, Joseph wasn't just given wealth. He was entrusted with it because he had proven himself trustworthy in the test. That's the blueprint. So if you're in a hard place right now, if you're being stretched, challenged, or refined, don't lose heart. You're not being ignored. You're being observed. Your reaction in this season is writing your readiness for the next one. Your discipline now is creating your destiny later. God wants to trust you with more, but He's watching what you do with less. Tests always precede trust. But if you endure, if you grow, if you stay aligned with your values and faith, you won't just come out of the test, you'll come out prepared. And when God trusts you, what He gives you won't just elevate your life, it will impact many others. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Pick 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each, or get 2 burgers for the same price. Your choice.
Others. Pass the test. Trust will follow, and with trust comes everything you've been waiting for. In a world where money often defines success, it's easy to forget that true wealth is more than just financial abundance. Wealth that lasts, that builds legacies, that creates peace and impact, requires something deeper, something stronger than dollars or possessions. It requires character, because character is the real currency of wealth. Money can open doors, but character determines whether those doors stay open. It can buy attention, but not respect. It can elevate your platform, but only character can sustain your position. That's why throughout history we've seen countless people rise quickly through talent, connections, or luck, only to fall just as quickly because they lacked the internal foundation to hold what they gained. Character is that foundation. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's how you treat others when they have nothing to offer you. It's the voice that keeps you grounded when ego and temptation start whispering louder than wisdom. It's your consistency, your honesty, your humility, and your sense of responsibility. God knows this. That's why before He blesses you with more, He checks if your character can carry the weight of it. Because wealth, especially significant wealth, is not just a blessing, it's a test of who you are. It gives you power, and power exposes your true self. If you're selfish when you're broke, more money will only make you more selfish. If you lack discipline now, more money will simply magnify your chaos. But if you've built strength, patience, generosity, and integrity in the lean seasons, then wealth becomes a tool, not a trap. Think of character as the roots of a tree. The deeper and stronger the roots, the higher the tree can grow without falling. Many people try to grow fast, chasing success, fame, or wealth without investing in their roots. They might reach the top quickly, but the first storm, scandal, failure, betrayal can knock them over. Why? Because the roots weren't ready. The inner life couldn't sustain the outer blessings. When your character is right, wealth doesn't control you, you control it. You don't become arrogant, but more grateful. You don't become reckless, but more responsible. You understand that wealth is not just for you, but for the purpose you carry. You start to see money as a tool for impact, not an idol to worship. And here's the key. Character isn't built in comfort. It's built in difficulty. It's forged in those moments when you're tempted to cut corners, when you want to take the easy road, when no one would blame you for quitting, but you choose the right thing anyway. That's where strength is formed. That's where the foundation is laid. You can't fake character. It reveals itself over time, especially in seasons of pressure. And it's in those pressure-filled moments that God is watching. He's not just looking at how well you perform in public, but how pure your intentions are in private. He's looking at how you manage responsibility, how you treat people who can't repay you, how you respond to failure, and how you handle success. If your goal is to build lasting wealth, wealth that brings peace, purpose, and generational impact, then the most important investment you can make is in your character. More than education, more than networking, more than strategy, character is the ultimate advantage because it makes you trustworthy. And when you're trustworthy, God can entrust you with more. Let's be honest, anyone can get lucky once. But staying blessed, staying influential, staying impactful, that requires consistency. That consistency only comes from character. It's what keeps your yes, yes, and your no, no. It's what helps you say no to things that look good, but aren't good for you. It's what gives you peace of mind when you lay your head down at night. Some people make it ahead by cheating the system, manipulating others, or selling their values. But that kind of wealth always comes with a hidden cost. Eventually, the truth catches up, the foundation cracks, the house falls. But when you build your success on character, it lasts. It may take longer. It may not be flashy at first, but it endures, it multiplies, and most importantly, it allows you to enjoy the blessing without fearing its loss. So if you're in a season of preparation, if it feels like things are moving slowly, or if you're being stretched to do the right thing when the wrong thing is easier, remember this: God is building your character because He's preparing you for real wealth. Wealth that adds no sorrow. Wealth that leaves a legacy. Wealth that reflects His trust in you. Because in the economy of heaven, before there's financial promotion, there must be personal integrity. In that divine system, character is the currency of wealth. When you're waiting for something, Whether it's a financial breakthrough, a career opportunity, a business success, or even just a chance to prove yourself, it can be deeply frustrating. You start questioning your timing, your abilities, your worth, and sometimes even your faith. You look around and see others moving ahead, doors opening for them while yours remain closed. And in those moments, it's tempting to believe that the delay means denial, that the answer is no, that the dream won't happen, that the blessing isn't coming. But that's not the truth, because in God's plan, delay is not denial, it's development. What looks like a pause is often a process, a season where you are being prepared for the very thing you've been praying for.
Well,
It's not that the
you left
answer
me
is no,
2
it's
points.
that you're not
That's
ready
cute.
yet.
When you're a full-time parent
Okay,
with a
5
full-time
points.
job, you need a master's that works with.
Or perhaps the opportunity itself isn't ready for you. And in His perfect timing, God brings the two together. Not a moment too soon and never too late.
We had to
Think
break
of a
even
seed
as well.
planted in the ground. For weeks, maybe
That's
months,
interesting.
nothing seems to happen. The soil looks the same every day. But underneath, transformation is taking place. Roots are growing. The foundation is being
One break
formed.
even,
And when the time is
and
right,
one
the
development.
seed breaks through the surface.
So I'm gonna wait for the
not a
30-minute
second
now.
earlier. If someone were to dig it up midway through the process
Before
because
I
they got
move.
tired of waiting, they'd never see the full potential.
So,
That's exactly how purpose and blessing work. What you think is inactivity may actually be hidden growth. God often delays elevation because He wants to strengthen your foundation. Premature promotion can be dangerous. It can inflate your ego, distort your values, or place you in a position you're not equipped to handle yet. That's why the waiting period isn't wasted time, it's working time. It's where you're sharpened, refined, and developed into someone who won't just reach success, but can sustain it. Many of us are quick to pursue the outcome, but slow to embrace the process. We want the blessing, but not the burden of preparation. We want the reward without the responsibility. But here's the truth. What comes fast often fades faster. Real, lasting success, especially the kind that's aligned with God's purpose, takes time. And during that time, your heart, your mindset, your character, and your discipline are being tested and transformed. Some delays are designed to break the pride in you. Others are meant to build patience. Some are to reveal what's truly in your heart, what you'll do when no one is clapping for you, when the applause has faded and the results aren't immediate. Those moments strip away the superficial and reveal your true commitment. They refine your motives. Are you pursuing wealth to serve others or to prove your worth? Are you chasing success because of purpose or because of insecurity? It's in the delay that your why becomes clear. And when your why is pure, your when comes with power.
There
There's
goes my
another
TP.
reason for delay that we often overlook. Sometimes God is protecting you. That opportunity you desperately wanted may not have been as good as it looked. That door you tried to force open might have led to unnecessary pain. God sees what you don't. And while His no might feel like a rejection, it's often a redirection towards something better, something more aligned, something lasting. Delay can also be a time of and alignment. Maybe you're ready, but the people you need to connect with aren't yet in position. Maybe the marketplace needs to shift. Maybe there's a lesson someone else needs to learn before you both meet in the right moment. God works on multiple timelines, and His orchestration is always bigger than our individual desires. And there's the beautiful part. Every moment you spend waiting with faith, with grace, with consistency, it's not wasted. It's recorded. It's building your legacy. It's cultivating resilience. It's adding weight to your testimony. When breakthrough finally comes, it won't just be a blessing.
Opening
It will
gap
be
as well.
proof of your preparation.
So just gotta wait for
You'll
time
know
now
you
to
didn't
do
just
some.
stumble into success. You grew into it.
Still have about 100 points to go on the top side to complete the daily range.
Don't let comparison steal your
So
peace.
anywhere on the
Don't let
monthly here,
impatience make you settle.
in between the
Trust the
midpoints,
delay.
should be a good buy.
Know that
And if
your
it's selling
development
off,
is more important than your timeline. Because when God
I'm
moves, He
looking
does it suddenly,
on
but
fair
only
value low.
after He's done the deep work in silence.
Let's see what happens for sellers.
Delay isn't
There's
denial,
no equal lows at the
it's
low of the day.
development. It's love
It's London
disguised
lows,
as
so
patience. It's
we'll
purpose
see.
disguised as time. And it's preparing you not just to receive the promise, but to carry it with wisdom, strength, and grace. There is a season in everyone's life that feels quiet, hidden, and unseen. A season where you work hard, but no one claps. Where you show up day after day with excellence, but no spotlight shines on you. Where your efforts go unnoticed, your name is unknown, and your dreams seem like distant whispers. It's easy to feel discouraged in that place, to think that nothing is happening, but in truth, something powerful is taking place beneath the surface. Because obscurity isn't a punishment, it's preparation. Obscurity builds strength. We often crave visibility, recognition, and validation. It's natural to want others to see your talent, acknowledge your work, and support your vision. But there's a divine reason why the most critical phases of growth happen in private.
Mina, help me out here. Okay, remember how salty Theo was at Thea's birthday? That's how salty these Abby.
When you're hidden from the world, you're being protected from distractions and premature exposure. You're being given the space to develop the muscles you'll need to carry the weight of your future. Strength doesn't come from applause. It comes from repetition, from resistance, from doing the hard thing consistently.
So it's going to run the high.
Your body doesn't grow stronger from people watching you lift. It grows from the weight itself. The same is true for life. When no one is watching, but you still give your best, that's when your character is forged. That's when resilience, discipline, and authenticity take root. Look at nature. Some of the most powerful elements form in silence and darkness. Diamonds are made under pressure deep beneath the earth. Roots of mighty trees grow in complete darkness before anything breaks the surface. Babies develop in the hidden environment of the womb before they're strong enough to enter the world. Obscurity is not the absence of progress. It's the birthplace of strength. One of the reasons God allows seasons of obscurity is to strip away false motivations. When no one's watching, your reasons become clear. Are you doing it for applause or purpose? For recognition or impact? Are you working to impress people or to honor the calling on your life? In the silence, you discover your real why. And when your why is anchored in something deeper than attention, you become unshakable. There is also safety in obscurity. Not everyone is ready to be seen. Visibility without maturity can be dangerous. If the world sees you before you're rooted, the pressure to perform can crush you. But when you've done the work in the dark, when you've grown strong in silence, you're ready to handle the light. Because by then, the spotlight no longer defines you. It simply reveals what was already true. Many of the greatest leaders, innovators, and creators went through long seasons of obscurity. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading his people. David was tending sheep in a field, completely overlooked before he ever faced Goliath. Jesus spent 30 years in quiet preparation before 3 years of public ministry. These hidden years weren't wasted. They were essential. They were where strength, identity, and clarity were built. If you're in a season right now where you feel unseen, don't despise it. This is not the time to quit. This is the time to dig deeper. Strength, built in silence, is the kind that lasts. It's the kind that doesn't waver when storms come. It's the kind that stands tall when others fall. Because it wasn't built on praise. It was built on principle. This quiet season is where you master your craft, refine your message, build your habits, and test your commitment. It's where you learn to be faithful with little so that you're ready to be trusted with more. The world might not be watching yet, but God is, and He's more interested in who you're becoming than how many people know your name. When the time is right, when your roots are deep enough, when your heart is strong enough, God will bring you into visibility. And when He does, you won't be shaken by criticism, distracted by fame, or dependent on validation, because your strength was forged in the unseen. You'll carry confidence, not because of who sees you, but because of who sustained you in the dark. So don't rush the process. Don't force the spotlight. Stay steady. Keep building. Keep showing up. Every day in obscurity is adding layers to your strength that no one can take away. One day when you step into the light, people will see the strength in you, but only you will know where it was built. And that, more than anything, is the beauty of obscurity. It doesn't just prepare you for the moment, it prepares you to endure long after the moment has passed. When life places you in a season of lack, whether it's a lack of money, opportunity, recognition, or resources, it can feel overwhelming. It's natural to want to escape those moments quickly, to fix the problem, to fill the void. But what if those seasons aren't just obstacles to overcome? What if they are divine tests designed to reveal something much deeper? Your heart, lack, strips away the distractions of abundance and exposes the core of who you are. When you have plenty, it's easy to be generous, patient, and grateful. But when the cupboard is bare, when the bills pile up, and when dreams seem distant, your true character begins to show. It's in these moments that God tests not just what you have, but what you do with what you don't have.
Does your nonprofit fundraise with live events? Try GoFundMe Pro. You can fundraise at a...
How do you respond when resources are tight? Do you become bitter, jealous, or anxious? Or do you maintain faith, kindness, and hope? Lack doesn't just challenge your finances, it challenges your spirit. It's a mirror reflecting your trust in God's provision and your willingness to stay faithful even when circumstances are difficult. Consider generosity. It's easy to give when your pockets are full. But can you give when you feel like you have nothing left? This is where the test becomes clear. The Bible teaches that God loves a cheerful giver, not just one who gives from surplus, but one who gives sacrificially, trusting that provision will come. When you choose generosity in a season of lack, you reveal a heart that believes in abundance beyond the visible. Gratitude is another revealing marker. When everything is going well, it's natural to be thankful. But when your situation seems bleak, does gratitude become harder or does it deepen? A heart tested by lack can find joy not in possessions, but in the unchanging goodness of God. Gratitude in scarcity is a powerful testimony of faith. Patience is also forged in seasons of lack. When the answers aren't immediate and the breakthrough seems delayed, your patience reveals your trust in God's timing. Impatience and frustration might feel justified, but a heart that waits quietly and confidently shows maturity and spiritual strength. Lack also reveals how you treat others. When resources are scarce, do you hoard what you have or share with those in need? Do you build walls or extend hands? Your interactions during these times reflect your heart's posture toward generosity and compassion. More than what? Successful people will tell you that their most valuable lessons came from their seasons of lack. It was during those times they learned humility, reliance on God, and the importance of faith over sight. They discovered that their worth and identity weren't tied to their possessions, but to their character and their Creator. It's important to remember that lack is not a punishment, but a test and a teacher. God allows it to reveal weaknesses and strengths alike so that you can grow. He wants to see if you'll stay true to your values when there's nothing to gain, if you'll keep your faith strong when circumstances shake your confidence. So, if you're currently facing a season of lack, don't despair or let it define you. Instead, let it refine you. Use it as an opportunity to examine your heart, your trust, your generosity, your gratitude, and your patience. Let it shape you into someone who can handle abundance with wisdom and grace. Remember, wealth doesn't just multiply what you have. It multiplies who you are. God tests your heart in seasons of lack to prepare you for seasons of plenty. How you respond now will determine not only your future success, but the legacy you leave behind. In the end, it's not the amount in your bank account or the size of your possessions that matters most. It's the condition of your heart when the world has little to offer. That heart, tested and proven, will be ready to receive, steward, and multiply every blessing that comes your way. Life's challenges and tests often feel like obstacles, delays, or even punishments. When you're in a tough season, whether it's financial struggles, personal hardships, or professional setbacks, it's easy to ask, why is this happening to me? Or, when will this end? But beneath these trials lies a deeper purpose. You're being prepared to be a blessing. This preparation isn't just about building your own success or accumulating wealth. It's about shaping you into someone who can use those blessings to impact others in meaningful ways. God's vision for your life is never solely focused on you. The wealth, the influence, and the opportunities you receive are tools for a larger mission to bless others, to lift communities, and to create positive change. Think about the leaders and change makers throughout history. Their stories often start with hardship. They don't just rise to prominence by chance. They rise because they were shaped in struggle. Their pain becomes their platform. Their setbacks become their lessons, and their perseverance becomes the source of hope for others. Their blessing is not just personal, it's a ripple effect touching many lives. When you face trials, consider this. You're being equipped with empathy, wisdom, and strength that can only come from experience. Those difficult seasons are teaching you how to relate to others who suffer, how to lead with humility, and how to manage resources wisely. Without the preparation, blessings can become a burden. But with it, blessings become a bridge connecting you to those who need help, encouragement, or inspiration.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield.
What was that?
No. But you can go to SafeLight.com and get it fixed now and pay later. Awesome. SafeLight can come to you for free. Don't wait. Get it fixed now and pay later at SafeLight.com.
SafeLight repair, SafeLight replace.
The story of Joseph in the Bible illustrates this beautifully. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned, Joseph's life was filled with hardship. Yet through every challenge, he remained faithful and grew in wisdom and leadership. When God finally elevated him to a position of great power, Joseph didn't use his wealth and authority for selfish gain. Instead, he saved nations from famine, providing food and hope for millions. His preparation through pain was what made him a true blessing. Your own struggles are shaping you in a similar way. Each difficulty is a lesson in patience, resilience, and faith. Every delay is an opportunity to deepen your character and sharpen your purpose. You're being molded not just to receive blessings, but to give them back generously and effectively. Moreover, being prepared to be a blessing means recognizing that wealth and success are not endpoints, they're starting points. When you finally receive what you've been waiting for, the real work begins. How will you use your resources? Will you hoard your blessings or share them? Will you lift others as you rise? Will you be a source of hope, healing, and help in a world that desperately needs it? This perspective changes everything. It shifts the focus from self-centered goals to a life of service. It encourages generosity over greed, compassion over competition, and purpose over prestige. When you understand that you're being prepared to be a blessing, you begin to see your trials as investments in a much greater future. Preparation also involves developing a heart that is willing and able to give. Wealth without generosity can become a trap. It can isolate you and disconnect you from what truly matters. But a heart trained through hardship learns the joy of giving, the fulfillment of serving, and the power of making a difference. It's important to remember that being a blessing isn't limited to giving money. Your time, your talents, your testimony, and your influence are all valuable resources. The way you encourage a struggling friend, mentor a young person, or stand up for justice can be just as impactful as financial support. So, if you're in a season where you feel tested, stretched, or delayed, don't lose heart. You're not just enduring, you're being prepared. Every challenge is a stepping stone, every setback a lesson, and every moment of waiting a time of growth. The blessing you've been longing for isn't just about changing your life, it's about changing lives through you. When that time comes, and it will, you'll be ready. Ready not just to receive, but to give. Ready not just to succeed, but to serve. Ready not just to enjoy, but to empower others. Because the greatest wealth is the ability to be a blessing, and the greatest preparation is the journey that makes you worthy of that privilege. Your story, with all its trials and triumphs, will become a beacon of hope. Your blessings will multiply beyond measure, not because of your own strength, but because you were prepared to be a blessing to others. And that ultimately is the true purpose behind every test you face.
High 90% accuracy. So, you're learning how I don't need to be in there everyday trading and how you don't need to be in there everyday trading. You're not trying to romance the outcome of everything that you do as a trader. You're embracing the uncertainty. That's different. You're embracing that hard right edge where you know that you have tools and perspectives and processes, protocols that you can follow that remove the need to be right. How many times have you watched that opening gap go back to its mid gap since I now taught it to you? Very few times that it fails to do so. But more inclined to do what? What I said. And I can promise you, over the last 40 years, 4 decades, it's done that. Not just in the NASDAQ market, not just in ES, not just in Dow, but in currency futures, the bond market, the grain markets, the meats, the metals, all of that. Every market out there that you can measure this phenomenon, and it's there. Even if it doesn't have a separation of time like we view indices, like indices have in electronic trading hours, they stop. And they have a regular trading hours time where they stop and they restart at 6 p.m. And then we have regular trading hours starting at 9:30 a.m. It's important to have that information because that information gives you a perspective that the general public doesn't perceive. They don't see it. They may recognize there's a gap. But what do you do with that gap? See, by far and large, the average person that is aware of a gap, they think, okay, well, gaps at the opening generally like to be traded down into or up into. Okay, and once it does that, then what? Well, I don't know about that, but this is what we can see. This gaps like to get filled, and the chop is real. What do you do when the gap is a premium gap? It opens higher. We trade down and fill the gap, and then we keep going lower. What does that tell you? Well, I don't know. I do. My students do. You're learning that. But you need something that's going to encourage you in the beginning. And by having something that has a 70% likelihood of panning out, why do you think I want a 75 handle or more opening range gap? Well, what is half a 75? It's an easy 25 to 30 handle run. And that's all you need. Once you get that, you can turn your charts off and go fishing, go to the movies, take your
I just
significant other
feel
out for a
today,
date,
man.
go have lunch, go back to bed.
Just get my look,
Play some Xbox and PlayStation, whatever you want to do. Go to the gym because your day's done. Think about how fast the 70% repricing to mid gap when it's a large range gap. How many times have you seen that happen? How many times have you seen it physically happen? Just like that. And how many of you thought to yourself, if push comes to shove, if this is all I get good at doing, how is that a failure? Skip the drama. Ask your provider for the Colobar test or request online.
HPE Virtualization Solutions let you break free from vendor lock-in with a unified approach to VMware, Kubernetes, AWS, Azure, and more. Unshackle your workloads with a hybrid cloud operations strategy.
How is that not a clear model that could take your fucking ass right out of that job that you're worrying about every day losing, and why you're not getting the raise, and how much more time you got to put up with fucking Carl? This fucking guy is constantly looking over your shoulder asking, so how's that trading going? How's that Forex trading going? You ready to quit your job yet? You're going to be a lifer like me. You know you are. Yeah, your corporate team. Your corporate team, baby. You are never getting out of here. I told you when you first told me this stuff, it's never going to work for you. Looking at that opening range gap, understanding how it behaves, what you can do with it, will separate you from putting up with Carl's bullshit. You won't have to go and work at that asshole anymore. But you have to submit to the time to getting good at reading it, not over leveraging, but one contract, one of them traded 3 instances over a week. You get two trades, one trade. See what I did there? Approach it back to just one trade, one good trade a week. And it could be just inside that opening range gap. And you don't need to know where the draw on liquidity is right now. You have something that can feed you, put some grocery money in your pocket, pay your mortgage note, or half of it, or a portion of it. And that little tiny victory, that little tiny footing, that sure footing underneath your feet will give you the confidence and to remind you, you know what? I made the right decision doing this. Something pushed me into this pathway. It didn't happen by circumstance. It didn't happen because of, luck. You were placed in my path for a reason. We came together for some cosmic reason, okay? And all you need to do is give yourself the opportunity to taste it one time, following the rules. And when you do that, you'll have every bit of the confidence to lean back on that one moment. That one instance where it happened in your hands, the bug will have bitten you. You will have been infected with it. You're ICT positive now. You're infected. And you'll go in looking for these types of things, these smart money signatures, and it'll encourage you because you've tasted it. You've seen it happen in your own hands. And it'll give you confidence to go in and keep doing more and more and more, and actually find more opportunities where you follow the rules and it pans out in your favor. It rewards you for following the rules. It does not punish you for being patient. It rewards you for being patient. It rewards you for being diligent and selective, and in looking for the weak-handed arm wrestling match against ill-informed people that pretend that they lose some kind of advantage, that pretends that volume profile has some measure of importance over price. It has no importance over price. It's only showing you what's already happened. It's not telling you where it's going to go. But understanding how, looking at less informed traders and how they think about the market, how they internalize what price is likely to do, and when they get sentiment driven, A gap opening higher. The public's going to eat that up and think it's bullish. And when they start to run up a little bit higher, you're going to smile. And you're going to say, I'm not buying that. That's the Judas swing. Because inside that opening range, that first 30 minutes, a Judas swing is going to form.
Like,
And the gap is
it's
telling you
literally what happens to do in USD.
what the initial draw is going to be. A gap higher, okay, you're looking for mid gap. Is there a range in there for 25 to 30 handles? You have a shoe in easy lead pipe cinch trade. All you got to do is wait for it to come down below a buy sign, sell sign efficiency if it's gap up higher. Once it breaks below that, look for that gap to act as an inversion fair value gap. That's all I did Friday. That's all that was. That was not me painting a fair value gap to go long in. When the whole time of that morning I was saying I would not be buying this. I would not be buying this. I would not be buying. I told you even if it ran up to primary buy side, I would not be in that long. Why? Because I taught you the opening range is going to be like a black hole, a vacuum that's going to pull price down into its midpoint. And how it trades that midpoint in terms of the speed, how fast it gets there, and what does it do as soon as it hits it? Does it pierce right through it? Or does it repel back up? Or does it trade down through it and come back up and treat it as resistance? It's a premium array and then sell off even more and go for 3/4 gap closure. So we're not fooled by these assholes on social media anymore. They want to take things out of context because you have documented facts being shown to you in live stream. I'm not ambiguous. I'm telling you what I want to see, what I prefer to see, and where the actual PB rates are talking, where they're saying this is what's likely to do. And if you can't see that, you're lost. You're lost and you're untrainable. You're unteachable. I can't do anything for you.
TikTok has a new feed, focuses on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. These are people not just explaining ordinary science that they get in a textbook. They're reaching out for the frontier.
You're sick, on vacation. Good thing Amazon Pharmacy will deliver meds right to the hotel. Because your wife's not going out there alone with them.
But guess what it did yesterday? Traded to 20,538. And it did that. I had a limit order to get me out there. I had enough time to hurry up and compress it, throw a widget track on there, and then out the door I went. So I was not able to sit and ride all this up and babysit it. My wife asked me to stay off the phone, for the time we were out, and I honored that request. Okay, so in the afternoon, a little bit later.
Fuck, man! Don't leave me again. Oh man, is that what today's gonna be about? Wow.
That's what I got to be.
Wow.
Market trades up into it.
Don't be dumb.
Turn off notifications that don't serve you and give more of your attention to content that brings you back to yourself, that sharpens your focus, steadies your thoughts, and strengthens your spirit. Environment also includes your habits and your daily structure. Don't let life carry you wherever it wants. Design your day. A morning with gentle music, natural light, and a screen-free moment grounds you more than any coffee. One deep, focused hour of work will take you further than an entire day of distraction. When you control your rhythm, you take back control of your life. Here's the key truth I want you to remember. You can't rise by changing it by changing it. If you need more, put books everywhere. If you want to eat better, clear the junk from your kitchen. If you want to create more, set up a quiet, well-lit space that invites your focus. You can't expect yourself to live with discipline if your environment constantly invites you to surrender. You can't expect consistency if you're surrounded by people who constantly quit. But here's the good news. You don't need anyone's permission to change that. You are the architect of your environment. Every behavior is triggered by a cue. Change the cue and the behavior will follow. Make the right thing easy to do. Make the wrong thing harder. Don't let your success depend on your willpower. Let it be supported by your environment. And finally, ask yourself, is your current environment, from your space to your people to your habits and digital inputs, lifting you up or pulling you down? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, don't panic. Just begin with one small change. Clear your desk. Pick one book. Unfollow one negative account. Message one inspiring friend. One simple act, and you've already begun rewriting your next chapter. Changing your environment may seem quiet, simple, but it is one of the most powerful tools used by the most consistent, successful people, because they know when you change where you stand, the way you see your life begins to change too. There's one truth I want you to remember forever. Every result in life is just the tip of the iceberg. The part beneath, the part that truly determines everything, is your mindset. It's not the action alone that shapes your life, it's how you think about that action. And it's not your circumstances that define your fate, it's how you interpret those circumstances. Mindset is not something abstract or distant. It's the foundation, the filter, the central control system that governs everything you do, from how you begin a small task to how you face adversity. I've seen people who are incredibly hardworking, deeply talented, yet they can't seem to break through. And I've seen others who started with nothing but rose with strength and created extraordinary success. The difference, it's here. Mindset. The first group carries a fixed mindset. I'm not good enough. I can't change who I am. I was born this way. The second group embraces a growth mindset. I don't know yet, but I can learn. I haven't succeeded yet, but I can improve daily. I will create a better version of myself. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's where mindset begins to reveal its power. When you face failure, do you blame yourself and give up? Or do you extract the lesson, get back up, and move forward? When motivation is low, do you wait for inspiration, or do you remind yourself that action creates motivation? When others judge you, do you bend to please them, or stay aligned with your values? Strong mindset isn't about always being positive. It's about facing reality and still choosing a more empowering belief. It's when you say, I'm struggling, but I'm not defeated. It's when you say, I'm tired, but I will still do what needs to be done. It's when you refuse to let emotions dictate your actions and instead choose to lead yourself. One of the biggest mindset shifts I ever made was when I stopped asking, how do I feel? And started asking, what's the right thing to do right now? Emotions fluctuate wildly. High one moment, foggy the next, but the right action is always clear. A successful person isn't someone who always feels good, but someone who does the right thing even when they feel nothing. That's mindset discipline. Mindset is also how you retell the story of your life. You can say, I failed, so I'm afraid to try again. Or you can say, I failed, and that experience taught me how to grow stronger and do better. You can say, life is too hard on me. Or you can say, the challenges I've faced built a spirit that doesn't give up. Same event, different story. The right mindset doesn't rewrite the facts. It rewrites the meaning to empower you instead of weaken you. You must also transform how you think about process and outcome. Most people obsess over outcomes. How many pounds did I lose? How much money did I get there yet? But high performers focus on the process. Did I improve compared to yesterday? Am I staying true to my goal? Am I consistent even when there's no result yet? When you fall in love with the process, you stop quitting. And when you commit to action, results come as a natural byproduct, not as something forced. Beware of the waiting mindset. I'll start when I'm ready. You will never feel truly ready. No one does. Those who act are the ones who begin before they feel ready and become ready along the way.
Here's to the fans. Here's to the music. Here's to each other. And here's to everyone that stands up to cancer.
You don't need more time, more knowledge, or more validation. You need only one thing: the belief that you are enough to start now. Another mindset shift I want you to engrave deep in your soul. Success is not a destination. It's how you live each day. You don't need to wait until you have it all to be considered successful. You are
You left
successful
me so
every
many
time you
times
keep a
today,
promise to
man.
yourself. Every time you
You
choose
need
the hard right over the easy wrong.
to do
Every
it, man.
time you rise after a
Patience,
fall.
patience,
Every time
patience,
you walk
patience,
through fear
patience,
and keep moving forward. And finally, a powerful mindset is a mindset of responsibility. No blaming, no
Should be going for
complaining,
these
no
words, though.
waiting. You take 100% ownership of your
I
life.
take two
Not
every time.
others, not circumstances, not the past. When you fully believe, if I don't do it, no one will do it for me, you are no longer a victim of life. You become the architect of it.
Yeah.
I believe this with all my heart. The difference between someone who merely exists and someone who lives fully isn't their conditions, it's the mind.